Can you start off with any question that you guys are facing, any issue that you're facing?
Scores have been consistently dipping. Had a
Okay.
good first mock and then just continuous sliding down the slope. That's something I've been struggling with.
Uh,
Without any preparation, the first mock was the best of the season. So,
that's okay. See, basically, it depends on a couple of things, no? One is maybe the mock itself might have been easy. Second, you might have taken it without expectations. And when you take it without expectations, you are not under pressure and you tend to perform very well. Like even in my case, like recently, matlab, after I started Cracku, the first time I took CAT was in 2019, and I took it without any expectation. At that time, like nobody really knew us or anything like that. I just took it because I wanted to know the pattern. Till that year, Sally used to take it, and that was the first time like she was like heavily pregnant with our child, so she couldn't take it, and I took it just to know the pattern. And because there was no pressure, I actually first of all enjoyed the exam and I did very well. The next time I took it in 2020, because of the pressure, I didn't get 100. So because I was just under so much pressure that okay, last time I got 100, how to do it and all. So it happens where the first time when you're taking it without any pressure, you tend to perform well. But basically, what happened is the next year again, I figured out how to handle pressure, how to do things better and all, and then I started getting 100 again regularly. What I'm basically saying is the first time you take it without any pressure, you tend to do well. And this is something that is very, very common amongst CAT aspirants. So that is not something you should be worried about. Having said that, you should figure out how to handle your nerves better, how to ensure that you are working. You're basically, you should look at it as a process. You should not look at it as a result. You should believe in the process that you have to solve X number of questions every week before taking a mock. You should, or in quant, LRD, verbal, all of them, you should analyze the mock very well. You should figure out basically what exactly is analysis is that you should figure out what are the things that you have to do to get like say 1 mark more in each of the sections. What is one mistake that you're making? What is like, it can be either picking a wrong set or maybe making a silly mistake or not looking at all the questions, maybe spending too much time. Anything which is a pattern is something that you need to identify. That is basically analyzing the mock. Okay. Now believe in the process, that is solve a lot of questions, analyze the mock properly, look at a particular mock with enthusiasm. You should not have this nervousness or panic about a mock. You should enjoy the process. Then I think your scores will again improve. So even if your scores are dipping now, don't worry too much. It is basically a skill that you have to learn about how to control your nerves, and you will learn it if you put in like that mental effort
okay.
of what is it that you should do.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, so actually I've been facing a lot of problem with the quant section. Whenever I solve it within the 40-minute timer, I'm able to solve like 8 questions and I get 5 right. But then when I do the corrections, I can solve almost the entire section normally without any time constraint. So I don't know how to like approach an improvement in score. Do I go to concepts? Do I practice them at a faster pace? Or I'm not sure how to go about that.
What I would tell you is I'll give you a heuristic, which I have roughly uh, thought about, is that if you solve 100 questions between mocks, you can attempt one more question. That is, say you are attempting 8 questions now. Between one mock to another mock, if you're able to solve 100 quant questions, then the next mock you attempt, you'll maybe get instead of 8, you'll be able to attempt 9 questions. So basically, it involves solving a lot of questions between mocks. That is one thing. The second thing I would want you to know is I want you to analyze after your mock is over, what is the maximum time that you spent on a question? Like the 3 questions, maximum 3 questions, okay, the most amount of time that you spent. And I want you to note it down after every mock. Because if you're attempting 8 questions out of 22, I think your attempt rate also is lesser, which I think probably is because you're spending a lot of time on certain number of questions. That I think should be avoided. So I want you to keep note of the total time that you spent, okay, in the 3 maximum questions. You understood what I'm saying, right? That heuristic. Okay. And I want you to bring it down. Like it should not happen that on any question you are spending, like, say, 8 minutes or 9 minutes. But in your particular case, if you're just attempting 8 questions out of 40, roughly you're spending on an average 5 minutes per question. That itself is slightly higher. I would want you to bring that down. But the way to bring it down is identify which questions you have spending too much time. Are there any questions where you spent 8 minutes or 9 minutes? Those things should be avoided. But for your question, I would say practice more and more and analyze your time management during quant.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, one more thing. How do you stay in touch with like VRC? Like daily you do quants and LRDI, you take sessions and all. But like since you like it's been long since you extensively prepared for VRC, how do you stay in touch with that? Like what should we do on a daily basis? Like I'm getting like 35 to 40, 45, but never able to push beyond that.
Okay, very good question. Basically, with respect to VRC, I read a lot. On a daily basis, I read a lot. I basically go through the Guardian quite a lot. Guardian is, I really like the articles on the Guardian. I first started with sports there because their sports coverage used to be extremely good. And because I used to go there regularly, I used to look at the other features also, like opinion or lifestyle or culture, all of them. And I read those articles quite a lot. Firstly, because I enjoy it. Secondly, because it also helps for cat. Like you are saying, I don't have any other touch with verbal. That is the only thing that I do, but I read quite a lot. Now, when I read quite a lot, I am able to improve my reading speed or at least make it consistent. So I would tell you to definitely find any good website. It can be any website, but like I said, it is something I enjoy. So you should try to find a website which you enjoy, you like, and you should try to go there and read articles regularly. I, for example, will read at least 3 or 4 articles every single day from the Guardian. Um, I don't read any other like website regularly. It is not like I go to Aeon or anything like that. It is just one website, which is the Guardian, and I read it every day, at least 3 4 articles, because I enjoy it. So I would want you to do that. That is one. Verbal doesn't require anything else. If you really ask me, you have to take sectionals regularly so that you are in touch with it. And I take the like dash cat attempts, right? So that is my sectional attempts, and I read quite a lot. Those two, if you do consistently, that should be sufficient. But there is one trick that many people in Cracku office do. Like Siley has one trick of like this active reading, which I don't know how many of you know, but there was one guy, who joined FMS. He was like a Zomato delivery driver and all, right? Girish. Okay. He used to work at Cracku as a content manager, and he used to struggle in verbal. He worked in Cracku for 2 years. The first time he took CAT, he did well in quant and LRDA, but his verbal score was pretty poor. He scored, I think, in his 60s or something. Then he asked Siley, what should I do and all. And she told him to write some like active reading. So basically every day he would read an article and he would write the main points of the article in a page. And we have like a Slack group where he posts it. And he used to post it every day. Every single day he would post it. And his score improved quite a lot. And so I feel that is something that might have helped. This year, so many people are doing it based on his inspiration because from 60 percentile, his verbal score improved to 96 or so, and he was super consistent with that. So in our office, so many people actually started doing that active reading summary. So they find an article and they write and these are good articles, like articles on Aeon or somewhere they find it. And every article they summarize it, the main points, something like say 10 or 15 main points of that article. They write it in a paper and they take a photo and post it in our Slack group. And many guys are doing it. It helped Girish quite a lot. And Siley says that that helps in verbal score quite a lot, and many of the guys this year are doing it, and I actually have seen improvements in their score in verbal. So it is something that you can try to do. I personally, I don't do it, because it's too much effort and I don't have that much time, but I read the Guardian regularly.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
actually, I am, you can say that I am actually relied on quants and DILR because my scores in quants and DILR are definitely more than 14 every mock. But
Good.
my VRC scores are getting very fluctuating. But matlab, it is getting to 20 sometimes and as well as 35, 40. So how can I make it stagnant, you can say?
Okay, I'll tell you two things. Okay, first thing is verbal in mocks fluctuates because mocks are not very good or they are subjective. Quant mocks will not be subjective. There is a particular answer which you know is correct. If you are getting a different answer, you can actually prove that the question is wrong. Same thing in LRDA. LRDA also, even if it is very difficult, at the end of the day, you can figure out that, okay, this is the right answer. Sometimes an LRDA might have another like arrangement which might not have been considered. Still, you can prove that the question is wrong. In verbal, in mocks, unfortunately, you can't prove that a question is wrong because it becomes subjective. But in the actual examination, in CAT, the questions are always objective. After the exam is over, out of 24 questions, once the response sheet comes, nobody really argues about most of them. There will be some debate about maximum of 1 or 2 questions out of the 24. The remaining 22 people unanimously agree with the answer key. Nobody really critiques or criticizes. At max, there will be 1 or 2. But that won't be the case in any mock. In any mock, people will complain quite a lot. Okay. So that is one thing you should see. Second thing is, from my personal experience also, I've seen my scores also in this section attempts fluctuate. But my scores in actual CAT don't fluctuate too much, because again, I feel CAT is a lot more like objective. The questions are also objective, even in verbal. You can figure out that, okay, this is the correct answer. So don't be too worried with respect to the fluctuation of mock scores. Again, like I said, believe in the process, which is, for me at least, reading quite a lot of articles, and that helps quite a lot. For you, you can read a lot of articles, or you can follow whatever I told you about the active reading and summarizing. The second thing I want you to remember is, don't like set your targets low for verbal. It is very good that you're doing very well in quant and LRDI, scoring 40 plus, but you have to believe that verbal also is something that you can score very well. Verbal, I think, is the one section where improvement is possible in a very fast time. Okay. Like I have seen it in my experience, so many people from their mid 60s, like I told you, Girish, from mid 60s, they've gone to 96. And I've seen so many such people in 3 or 4 months, they improve their verbal scores quite a lot. Okay. So it is not luck based. I've seen the effort and the hard work, and it is determined. Okay. Many people, just with the effort that they put in, their scores improve. Even my score also, the first time I took CAT, like I told you many times, it was like sub 80. But the second time I took it, when I actually got into IIM Ahmedabad, was 97. Okay. So for me also, I was able to improve it from 80, sub 80 to 97 in 1 year. So I've seen that happen with multiple people. So verbal also, if you put in a lot of effort, you can improve quite a lot. And I would recommend you to put in effort in verbal, because if you're already scoring 40 in quant and LRDA, going from 40 to 50 is very, very tough. Okay. Especially in LRDA, you can't say that I'm going to score 50 in LRDA. That is very difficult. No? You can't predict it. But in quant, you can predict it to an extent, but improving from 40 to 50 in quant is very tough. But improving from, say, 25 to even 45 in verbal is much easier than improving from 40 to 50 in quant. So I would want you to put in that time in verbal, because if you are not scoring too well there, that is where you have to put in the most amount of time.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. I had a doubt with respect to LRDI. So I usually solve around 2 sets, and per set I take around 15 minutes. So that's about 30 to 35 minutes of the exam time. But then I'm still left with 10 to 5 to 10 minutes in the paper, in which I'm not able to crack any set, and it's essentially wasted time. So what can I do in those 5 to 10 minutes to, sort of get 3 more marks?
Okay, that's a very good question, man. Basically, I tell this again in many of my streams. I don't want you to underestimate the importance of educated guesses for TITA questions, especially in LRDI. TITA questions in quant are very difficult to guess, because the number can be anything. Sometimes it will be 108, sometimes 144. It can be any number greater than 100 also. But if you're looking at the TITA answers in LRDI, just look at it for the last 3-4 years. They will always be, in most cases, nearly always, in number which is less than 10. Okay. The second thing, if you have 5 minutes and say you have 2 sets which you did not attempt at all, now go through the set. Don't try to solve it. If you have only 5 minutes, don't try to solve it. It is very difficult to solve it in 5 minutes, but at least get a hang of the set. Try to figure out what exactly is given. For example, today I attempted a dash cat attempt. Okay. Today I was in a similar situation. There were 5 or 6 minutes left, and I wanted to make some educated guesses. So I looked at one of the set which said that there were 6 people, or 8 people, they were being arranged in a table. And one of the questions was, in how many ways can the arrangement be done? And I marked it as 4. The correct answer was 3. But it was still fine. I was happy with my guess. Similarly, in many of the guesses, okay, if you make educated guesses, you will get some TITA answers correct. Even today, for example, I think I put 5 TITA questions. I got one of them correct. I don't remember which one it is. But basically, when you make educated guesses in TITA, you will definitely get one question correct. And for me, I'm very happy if I get a TITA question correct. In the sense, I take pride in my educated guesses also. It might sound very silly, but I feel that also is a skill. That also is not like completely random. So even if you spend 1 minute reading the set, getting a hang of the set, what exactly is being asked, how many people are there, how many rounds are being played, small, small things. But if you are making some educated guesses, the probability of getting any question correct will be around 25%. And TITA has no negative marking. So you should make the best use of those educated guesses.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, sir. Just one question regarding quants. How to move from, say, averaging in 30s to eventually reaching mid 40s, even late 40s, from 30s to late 40s?
Okay. I'll tell you two things. From 30s to late 40s will require a lot of effort, but you should put it because this is a good time for you to put it. The second thing is you have to not have any weakness in the sense you should not say that, okay, number systems I don't want to prepare, or permutation combinations I'm not good at it. I'm only good at arithmetic, algebra, geometry. That kind of an attitude will not work. Okay. If you are looking for 40, 45 plus marks in quant, you should be comfortable with solving a easy to medium question from all the topics. You should not have any like clear holes in quant. There are some people who don't do geometry or say even the modern maths functions. Okay. That is clearly you're leaving out certain things. So then you will never be able to get say 45 plus in quant. That is the first thing. You should be comfortable with all the questions. The second thing is you have to solve and solve more and more and more questions, because solving more questions will at least help you identify what is an easy question and what is not an easy question. If you're able to identify even that, that also is a very important skill. You will be able to pick the right questions very quickly, and you will be able to leave a question or like a trappy question quickly. So solve a lot of questions and complete the entire syllabus. You should not miss out on any syllabus. I think those are the two things I would say for you to improve your score after you are getting 30, 35 plus.
Thank you, sir.
So just adding on to that, the question before, and I think Aryan has also put it in the chat. It's mostly about geometry for at least a lot of like people I have at least spoken to. In arithmetic and stuff, you can still find a pattern that what profit loss stuff like that. But geometry, I've done everything, done the theory, done the videos, practicing. But one fine day on the mock, you see a diagram which you've never seen before, and you have to make something like that. And I skip geometry, and I think that's the only thing which is helping, like putting me back from going from like a 42 to take like 3 questions more and not able to crack geometry. And I don't know how to go around geometry because I've done everything. I revised it the second time as well. Just learning formulas, I don't think so it's helping. So how should one look at that?
Okay, I will, if I'm in your situation, one thing I would tell you is try to look at the geometry questions from previous papers. Okay, try to see if you're able to solve them or not. Like there can be crazy questions which are asked in mocks. Again, like I said, later on you can say that this question ka answer ye hai, that is fine. But whether the question is really relevant for CAT or not, again is a question mark with respect to some mocks. So I would tell you that try to solve geometry questions from previous year's CAT. Okay. You can even ignore CAT 2023 because it is like super difficult unnecessarily. But other than CAT 2023, try to solve geometry questions from previous year's CATs to assess whether you are good or not good. Now, if you feel that you are able to answer questions from previous year's CATs, then you should not be worried. Then it feels that, okay, you are right, on track. But if say you are not able to answer some geometry questions from say CAT 2024 or CAT 2025, then you try to identify what are the kind of geometry questions you are not able to answer. Is it with respect to, because the problem with geometry is it is not just one formula that will be asked. In every question, you will probably have to use 2 or 3 formulas. So you have to identify what are the kind of questions that you're struggling with and try to revise those more and more. That would be my advice.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, so one thing I've noticed while analyzing my mocks is that in like the recent 3 to 4 dash cuts I've done, my overall score range is very similar, but the components of the score are very different. Like sometimes I do really well in VARC and then average in DILR and quants, and then it gets switched. Sometimes I do really well in DILR and then average in VARC and quants. So like I don't know how to make everything consistent because right now I'm average in all three.
Okay, one thing that probably is the reason for that is because sometimes every mock we try to set one section to be easy and one section to be tough. Okay, this is an inside secret. Because I'm very closely involved with the setting of the mocks, super involved. So I can tell you the reason. Sometimes we put, like recently at the start, I think we made dash cat DLRs to be slightly on the easier side in the first 1 or 2, like maybe the first 3 or 4 dash cats, the DLR was definitely on the easier side. But later we started making that also slightly tougher. So it is possible that the difficulty of mocks itself is varying, because of which your scores also might be varying across the sections. I would say don't put too much emphasis on the mock scores. Mock scores are just a heuristic. It is a heuristic which tells you how you are performing, but that is not the most important thing. The most important thing is what you do between mocks. After one mock to the other mock, are you putting in effort to improve your scores in each of the 3 sections is what you should focus on. So have a strategy ready for each of the three sections. What should you do in quant? What should you do in verbal? What should you do in LRDI? And that is also individual. That should be specific to you. Try to make that plan so that your scores will improve in the next one. That is something that you should enjoy, that journey between mocks, and even analyzing mocks to identify where can you improve. Those are things that you should focus on.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys, I'll take two more questions. The last two questions, if you can have it, please ask me.
Hi, so how do I structure my quant preparation on a day-to-day basis? Like, for example, which topics to pick per day and like on each day?
No, it depends on you. I would always tell you that whatever are the topics you are not comfortable with, try to pick them first, because then I don't want you to like have big holes. Like I don't want you to feel that okay, dekho, if it is a geometry question, I won't attempt it, or if it is a number system question, I won't attempt it. That I think is a bad strategy. That I think is not going to be useful, because a very simple question can come from that particular topic. So if a very simple question comes from any topic, you should be able to answer it. So one thing I would tell you is you have to cover the entire syllabus, and so that if a very easy question comes from it, you should be able to solve it. If you're aiming for a 99.5 plus, especially in quant, you should be good at all the topics. There is no way out. But if you're aiming for say 95 plus in quant, then if you look at arithmetic, algebra, geometry, that should be fine. Typically, I would say in the last 4 months or so, I want you to solve at least 20 questions every day. This is minimum in quant. Anything else is up to you. Which 20 questions again is dependent on you specifically based on whatever heuristic I told you.
Sir, sir, I just want to ask you, like, if someone is aiming for a 99, a gem candidate, a 99.5 plus overall, so what should be the ideal mock overall score that we should be targeting? Because I understand that the number of people, the number of people is significantly lesser in the mock compared to the original exam, so the percentile calculation gets affected significantly. So, 99.5 plus in the actual exam should be, what will be the ideal mock score? Should to target that?
I would say, okay, I would say right now, if you're scoring above 75, okay, in dash cats, you are in the line. It won't mean that you will get 90.5, but I'm saying that you will be you are on the right track. If say today is say October, okay, say mid-October, I would tell you, you have to try to score 90 plus, okay, in dash cats. If it is mid-November, I'll say try to score 100 plus. You understand what I'm
Okay.
saying? Right
Okay.
now, if you're scoring 70, 75, you should definitely feel happy and you should try to improve more. But by the time CAT comes, you should try to score 100 plus.
Okay. And so for me, I have an issue that my scores overall are ranging in the range of 75 to 80, and sometimes it goes to 85 as well. But then it is very skewed towards the quant section where I have a 40 plus in quant and average is verbal like 30, 32 kind of score. And DILR, it's one set or sometimes zero sets, or very rarely it goes to two sets. So I just wanted to ask, like, what should I be doing for LRDA section?
LRDA, I would first tell you that you have to aim for 2 sets and you have to tell yourself that 2 sets are possible. I'll tell you why 2 sets are possible. Because out of 5 sets, there will be at least 3 sets which are standard. By standard, I mean there will be 3 sets which you have seen before. If you have attempted all the previous paper questions, it will never happen that all the 5 sets are completely new. That won't happen. Okay, I've seen it quite a lot, so I know that 3 sets will be very standard. There might be some new pattern in 2 sets. Okay, now those 2 new sets, some of them times they might be easy, they might be very easy. Sometimes they might be very difficult. It can happen. But at least 3 sets are standard sets. What I want you to do is, in the actual examination, at least in those 3 sets, you should be able to solve 2 sets. That is per set, even if you're giving 20 minutes, okay, that should be sufficient time. So what I would tell you is, okay, somebody is asking me for set selection strategy for DLR. Okay, I'll talk about it and then we'll end the stream. Okay. Now, basically, I want you to focus on getting 2 sets correct in DLR. Now, you should be mentally prepared if you just solve 2 sets and then, like I mentioned earlier, having the TITA strategy and trying to get 1 or 2 questions correct in the TITA guesses. That should be a good attempt. Okay, this is even for somebody who is a gem candidate aiming for 99 plus. Okay. In your case specifically, I would tell you to do all the previous year's papers from CAT 2017 or so. Okay. That is all the
Okay.
LRDI sets, all of them. Okay. Once you finish
Okay.
it is not a bad idea to do the sets again. Like take a break for around maybe 3 or 4 weeks and do the sets again. Because if a standard set comes, you should know exactly how to represent the data. The whole point of DILR is representing the data. Once whatever is given in the set, if you're able to write that table properly, or if you're able to draw that circle, that Venn diagrams properly, you will mostly get the set correct. So the whole point is, if a particular type of set comes, you should know how to represent that data. So go through all the sets from CAT 2017 till CAT 2025 and solve all of them. If you're stuck somewhere, you can always look at the video solution. Cracku has uploaded all the video solutions on YouTube. You can just search for it and you'll get it. Okay. That I would say
Okay.
will help you quite a lot. The second thing is, somebody asked with respect to the set selection strategy. I have a way in which I do it. The first 2 or 3 minutes I spend going through all the 5 sets. Because for me, like for most of you, LRDI is the crucial section where I think I will do well in verbal. I think I'll do well in quant. But LRDI always involves a lot of luck. So selecting the right sets would ensure that LRDI will not be a disaster. That is basically my big worry, where I feel that I don't need to crack LRDI. And see, when I'm taking the examination, I try to get 100 percentile. Okay. So if I feel that for me, LRDI, I don't want to, if I solve all the sets, that's great. But at least for me, my strategy is it should not be a disaster. I should get 2 sets correct. So if that is a strategy for me, that will be a very good strategy even for you. Like if most of you are aiming for 19.5, you don't need to solve 3 or 4 sets. If you're solving 2 sets in LRDI, that should be pretty good. Okay. For me, I look at the first 2 minutes, I go through all the sets, all the 4 or 5 sets. I try to map what this set is. For example, I want to figure out whether this set is an arrangement set, whether this is a Venn diagram set, whether it is a scheduling set, what type of set it is, whether it's a direct data interpretation set, something or the other. I try to make mental notes for each of the 5 sets. And based on it, I make a priority order that, okay, this is the set I'll attempt, this is the set I won't attempt. I'll make that priority order because I personally know what are the kind of LRDI sets I like to solve and what are the sets I'm not comfortable solving. For example, I'm not comfortable solving scheduling type of sets. For some reason, I get stuck in many of the scheduling ones. So I feel my accuracy will be lesser. Secondly, I don't like solving selection with criteria sets because selection with criteria sets, that is, if you had to form a team and some person will not be in the team if somebody else is there, those kind of sets I hate solving because there won't be one particular arrangement. There will be multiple arrangements possible. Each of the questions will be individual questions. If this guy is in the team, then what will happen to the other guy? Or if this guy is in the team, who can you say will definitely not be in the team? Those kind of questions will be there in the actual questions. And I feel that I have to solve the set again for every individual question. So I don't want it. So those sets I don't solve. The kind of sets that I definitely like solving is Venn diagrams. 4-parameter Venn diagrams is a very simple one. I have to just draw the table and I have to fill the numbers. I'll get the answer. I like solving missing values in the table. Sometimes we get a Sudoku type of a set. Those also I'd like to solve. So even Einstein's puzzles are something I don't mind too much. Those also sometimes they might be very tricky, but in most cases I get it correct without too much fuss. So I know what are the kind of sets I like to solve, what are the sets I don't like to solve. So when I'm going through the 5 sets, I try to place what type of set this is. Sometimes because I am making a guess without reading the entire set, I might make a mistake there, but that is okay. At least my probability is increasing of selecting the right sets. The second thing I look at in these first 2-3 minutes is whether the set can be directly answered when I go to the questions. Or like I told you earlier, there are some types of sets where I have to go through, I have to solve the set again while going through each of the individual cases. That is, if there is multiple arrangements possible in the set, every question is not something that I can directly mark off. Those sets I avoid. Basically, if I can solve the set and then quickly mark off the questions, those are the kind of sets I want. I don't want to solve the set and then go through the individual questions and multiple cases are possible. So again, I have to come back to the set and solve it. Those sets I try to avoid. And if you're looking at the questions also, you can make a guess about what are the kind of set this is. Because if there is a question which says, if this is the case, then who can you say is sitting opposite that guy? Then again, you know that, okay, if they're giving us some more extra information in a particular question, probably that set cannot be completely solved using the group information itself. So I will avoid that group at least at the start. So these are basically the things that I do. And the first 2-3 minutes are very, very important because you get a good priority order. The second reason they are very important is because if I get stuck in a question, I assume that one set is easy and I started doing it, but later I realized that I'm stuck here. That is the worst feeling that is possible in LRDI because you feel that, okay, now I have only 30 minutes left and I made no progress. Now at that time, what should you do? You should try to keep your calm. Now, if you have gone through all the 4 sets or all the 5 sets, you know that, okay, this set I misjudged, but I know that there is another set. I've seen that set that is seems like an easy set. So you'll have some hope. then, and there won't be any confusion. Then you won't keep going through different sets. 10 minutes, after 10 minutes, if you're stuck in a set, without panic, you will figure out and go to the next set and try to solve it. So having that priority order at the start is very important. And that works very well for me. It basically helps me keep my composure in the middle of the LRDI section. So I would again recommend you to do it.
Yeah, so one question.
Yeah. This is the last question, and after that I have to go have some work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for a full-time aspirant who has already completed the syllabus, would you recommend solving one full mock every day and
No.
analyze?
No.
So
I don't want you to take one full mock every day for two reasons. One, like I told you earlier, you will improve within, like in the time between mocks. Okay. And you have to make mock also like slightly something that you look forward to. You should tell yourself that, okay, in the next mock, I want to score better than this mock. You should put some importance in a mock. If you're taking a mock every day, first you can get burnt out, A. Second, you will become casual about a mock. You will probably feel that, okay, this is, even if you like stuck somewhere, you won't care too much. Like even many of the things that I told you about, okay, especially with respect to my DILR, is because in crux situations, I try to give my best. I want to like somehow salvage the section. Now, why do I do it? Because I take the exam seriously. If you're taking a mock every day, probably you won't take the mock very seriously. So you won't develop the salvaging strategies. Like if say you're taking a mock every day and if a mock is not going too well, you might give up in the middle. You will feel that, theek hai, ye ek hi mock hai, I'll do better next time. But that should not be the case. For you to gain the most from a mock, you should, in the middle of the mock also, you should really have this survival instinct where you should feel that I'm trying to like do everything I can to score well in this particular mock because this mock is important. If you're in that kind of a mode, you will learn more from the mock. If you're taking a mock every day, I don't think you will take that mock as seriously. So I would say don't take a mock every day. You can take one mock every week and put a lot of effort between mocks. If you want, you can take sectionals every day. No problem if you're taking sectionals, but take sectionals from your weakest section so that you'll improve in that. Okay. Okay, man. That is it. Thanks for tuning in. Let me just quickly look at the chat. I didn't look at the chat. Okay. Strategy in quants. Okay. My strategy in quants is very simple, man. I go through each question, but I'm very ruthless about leaving a question at the start. Basically, if I look at a question and I start solving it, and if I make no progress within 45 seconds or so, I leave it, I go to the next one. It will never happen that I spent 4 minutes on a question and I made no progress. That I think is a very bad strategy. I won't do it. And in quants, I don't look at all the questions at the start because you can't look at 22 questions. It's too much and it will be a waste of time. So I start from the first question. If I get it correct quickly, very good. If I don't get it correct, I leave it within a minute, within like 30 seconds or 40 seconds. If I feel this is either very lengthy or I'm not making progress or anything of that sort, within 30 or 40 seconds, if I feel that I won't be able to solve it within 2.5 minutes, I will leave it. I'll go to the next one. That is basically my strategy. And it is, I think, very useful because it will never happen that I will leave an easy question. An easy question, if it is there, I would definitely look at it and I'll try to solve it. It is possible that idea didn't strike me. I didn't think it's an easy question and I might have missed it. But it will never happen that I didn't look at all the 22 questions and give each of the 22 questions at least some time in trying to solve it. That I think should not happen to any serious aspirant. So the name of the game in quant is be ruthless about leaving questions if you're stuck there. Okay. Cool, guys. That is it. I got to go. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.